along game. Go along, get 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 along game. Mama's cooking. Go along, get along game. Mama's cooking. Go along, get along game. Go along, get along. Go along, get along. Go along, bear with me, class. Get along. Go along, get along. Go along, get along. Go along, get along. Go along, get along. Bear with me, class. Go along, get along. 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 Mama's cooking. Go along, get along. Mama's cooking. All the gatekeepers say. Go along, get along. Go along, get along. Go along, bear with me, class. Get along. Go along, get along. Go along, get along. Go along, get along, baby. Real.
Go along, get along, gang. Say,
Go along, get along, baby. Real.
There's no go along, get along, gang.
Go along, get along, baby. Say,
Go along, get along, gang. It's real.
Go along, get along, gang. Go along, get along, gang.
Go along, get along. Go along, get along. Bear with me, class. Go along, get along, gang. Go along, get along.
Go along, get along. Go along, get along. Go along, bear with me, class. Get along. Go along, get along. Go along, get along. Mama's cooking. My mama's cooking. Why? Get a little taste of mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. Get a little taste of mama's cooking. Why? Get a little taste of mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. Get a little taste of mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. There's a new sheriff in town, bitches. Get a little taste of mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. Get a little taste of mama's cooking. 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 Fuck you, talking about, nigga. My mama's cooking. My mama's cooking. My mama's cooking. Bitch, you can't do it. I'm gonna get a beat to that. Bitch, you can't do it. Bitch, you can't do it. Bitch, you can't do it. I'm gonna slow it down for the Texas nigga. Bitch, you can't do it. Bitch, you can't do it. Bitch, you can't do it. Fuck you, talking about, nigga. Get a little taste of mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. Get a little taste of mama's cooking. Why? Get a little taste of mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. Mama's cooking. Get a little taste of mama's cooking.
I just have one thing to say. Hang on here.
Black, you ain't black. Black leadership. 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 You ain't black. I want black. You ain't black. Something for black. You ain't black. I want black. You ain't black. Something for black. You ain't 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 black. I want black. Trump. You ain't black. Racism. You ain't black. Charlemagne. You ain't black. Essential workers. You ain't black.
I'm black.
You ain't black.
Why not?
You ain't black.
Come on, guys. I'm Black Dana.
Come on, man. You ain't black. Blacks. You ain't black. Dr. King. You ain't black. This virus. You ain't black. Come on, man. You ain't black. A disproportionate amount of them ain't black. Ain't black. Now people recognize that you ain't black. And you ain't black. You ain't black. I want black. You ain't black. Something for black. You ain't black. I want black. You ain't black. Something for black. You ain't 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 black. I want black.
I'll tell you what, if I had to tell them any one of these people, I'd be
Black.
Yo. Oh, you can see the light coming in, so you know I got window open, new piano. How y'all doing today? Yeah, boy, come on, man. How y'all doing today? Fauci was able to get a pardon by Joe Biden. Joe Biden pardoned everybody. He pardoned people that was on the committee of the January 6th board. He pardoned everyone because, you know, they're the party of transparency. They say Trump is some sort of king, but Trump got 34 felonies. And I think the people who are the real people are the people that they don't even have to say nothing. Yeah, it's a new piano. You know what I'm saying? Got a little, yeah. And the new couch. Shit fire. But yeah, but Fauci went to Congress and said, I plead the fifth almost over 100 times. So let's get into this video because Waters, they read his diary. Is it cool to read a diary? I don't know. Why the hell did he write this diary? I don't know. But Fauci seemed to be one of these smart dudes that nobody knew. And it seemed like all he wanted to do was be famous. You know, celebrities want to not be celebrities and have the money. And there's some people with money and all they want you to do is know who they are. They want you to know they got just as much money as a celebrity. They compete, boy. They'll do anything to be known until they get known. So let me rewind this.
We got our hands on Dr. Anthony Fauci's diary. And viewer warning, we're going to read from it, and it's going to make you very angry. Now, I know what you're thinking. It feels a little invasive reading another person's diary, but this isn't just anyone. This is a man responsible for devastating lockdowns and for funding the type of experiments that may have caused 1 million American deaths. If there's a theme from this diary, which is over 1,000 pages, it is this. Dr. Anthony Fauci is dishonest, almost always wrong, and is intoxicated with fame. As thousands of Americans were dying every day, here's what America's top doctor wrote, secretly to himself. Dear diary, the press is going wild with me. It is not hyperbole to say that today I am the most famous and talked about person in the country and one of the most recognizable persons in the world. The situation with my national and international fame is explosive and really unimaginable. The press is still hot and heavy about me. POTUS seems to be enamored of me, even though I am taking the spotlight away from him. Now, Fauci's writing about the press like it's a woman he's making love to.
So wait a minute. While kids are stuck in the house, not going to school, Fauci writing in his diary about how people like him. Okay.
During the lockdowns, Fauci apparently spent hours Googling himself, reading every article, even going into the comments section. Anthony was on Tyra Banks' Instagram page, you know, America's top model. He writes, Dear Diary, one person said that Tyra was sexy, but that I was even more sexy than she was. And Fauci agreed. He clicked on a petition to name him sexiest man alive, and he memorialized that over 10,000 people signed it. Didn't win, but as a consolation, they cast America's sexiest man alive to play him.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Anthony Fauci. First, I'd like to thank all the older women in America who have sent me supportive, inspiring, and sometimes graphic emails. Now, there's been a lot of
They use Brad Pitt to play Dr. Fauci. Damn. Dr. Fauci is protect. He said, "Why nobody try to take Fauci head off while they mad at Trump? Because it's all about who we like, and they're told who to like. They were told to like Fauci, so nobody's gonna touch Fauci. You know, Fauci is on the right side of what people go love. He's not a Republican. At least he's not that. You know, it's all about who we like. Even though this dude could be responsible for over 1 million unalivings and still thinking about himself as like a famous person based on this diary.
information out there about the virus. And yes, the president has taken some liberties with our guidelines.
Fauci kind of felt like Brad Pitt. They all wanted selfies with me, he wrote. They even wanted him on Dancing with the Stars. The Fauci-meister was enamored with the stars, who suddenly, not sure how, got a hold of his cell. Dear Diary, had a great call with Barbara Streisand. I told her that I work listening to her songs on Alexa. She really did not know what Alexa was. I accidentally butt called her later in the evening. I brought the phone over to Alexa and asked to play songs by Barbara Streisand. And when the song came on loud and clear, she started laughing and absolutely loved it. As someone who always considered himself a celebrity, finally the doctor was getting his due. Unfortunately, for Fauci to achieve celebrity status, Americans had to suffer. But Fauci knew he was destined for greatness. Even back in 2013, he wrote in his diary that he was a rock star and that the government was trying to keep him off TV because everyone was so jealous. 7 years later, his time had come and he was going to ride it.
Here's one that says, I got my first dose of the Fauci ouchie. I told him that I bought his bobblehead and he was super cool about it.
I saw your bobblehead today.
Did you like it?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was great.
PPL made fun of these Dr. Fauci prayer candles, but we got my dad one for his birthday in November. So he lit it every night and everyone in my immediate family was fully vaccinated. So maybe there's something there.
Was Dr. Fauci busy trying to slow the spread? Well, apparently he had plenty of time to write about his face being plastered everywhere. Dear Dr.
It don't seem like he was thinking about no goddamn vaccination. It don't seem like he give a day. All these people that couldn't go see their family members that was in the hospital, all the people that couldn't go see their kids, people couldn't travel. Nobody was traveling to see loved ones. It wasn't no more cookouts, get-togethers. Like people really learned to be antisocial. These kids that were locked away in 2020, some of these kids are of age now, and they're like, you know, it's a couple of years later, and they still, I think, dealing with the ramifications of that. We got teen takeovers now. I'm blaming that on Fauci.
Donuts are being named after me. T-shirts have my picture on them and are being sold. San Francisco radio is dedicating a song to me, coloring pictures with crayons for my picture. Me, 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 me. Fauci even saved cartoons of himself, of him looking like a superhero. Hero was actually one of his favorite words. In his diary, he mentioned it 50 times. His favorite word, though, not N95 or natural immunity, those words barely uttered. It was press. Press, mentioned over 600 times. For Fauci, doing press was like watching porn.
The single most respected voice in the pandemic, it's Dr. Anthony Fauci.
The man who's become known as America's doctor. Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's top infectious disease doctor.
Who are seen to many as a superhero.
Dr. Anthony Fauci, American hero.
Fauci and the media were so attracted to each other, they took it to the next level. Tapper and his wife invited Fauci over for dinner.
And Trump has been calling these people fake news for the longest. So maybe we ought to stop worried about whether we like somebody or not and start listening to some of the things people are saying, because it seems like Trump has been right about a lot of things he's saying. Luke even admitted it. So, I mean, we got to stop dealing in who we like and let's start dealing with the facts and information that we gather, not through feelings, not through who we like, but through the facts. Through the facts. They say Agenda 2020. People doing drugs, families broken apart. It's more than a jab. Oh yeah. Families are all broken up. Businesses was torn down. Some men lost their lives, women lost their lives, people committed suicide. All of that because they called, to me, he caused it. He was still living his life. He was still going to eat with friends. Watch.
A threesome at the height of the pandemic. Dear Diary, had dinner over Jake Tapper and Jen Tapper's home in D.C. Terrific couple, friendship building. And there was a second date. Dear Diary, had dinner at my home with Jake and Jennifer Tapper. Relaxed, good time. Jake clearly believes that Trump is totally nuts. Those dinner dates happened in the summer and fall of 2020, deep in the heart of the lockdown. Thousands of deaths a day at that point. Fauci had everyone quarantined. But this is what Fauci told you.
But we've got to put all those things together, Jake. We can't just wish it happening. We've got to get the vaccine. It's got to be deployed, and we can't abandon fundamental.
Yeah, Trump admitted. He said the worst thing that he did was listen to Fauci. And Trump went against Fauci. Trump said that once he did his investigation, Trump outed that this virus came from a laboratory in Wuhan, China.
And then they started flagging everybody for saying that. They started doing takedowns. That's when the misinformation war started. Any media pundit said anything about, you had to start saying juggernaut and jab. You couldn't say Jack Judy about no virus. You couldn't even say the word. Y'all know it. This man made it seem like you had to stay away from people while he wasn't staying away from people. This man said that if you take the juggernaut, the jab, that you were safe and people were still getting sick. So nothing that he said was right. And they held this man up like a hero. And he's no hero at all. He was just some scientist that was chasing fame. Y'all keep equating smart to good people. He went to college. What the hell does that mean? No, he might steal the shirt off your back. But that don't mean nothing. Going to get educated don't make you a good person. And it doesn't mean that he didn't chase fame like he did. All he wanted to do was be a celebrity. That's crazy. All this damage, this fallout from these kids not being able to read. These kids didn't go to school. People lost family members and loved ones that they did not get to say goodbye to. None of these things happen all because this guy right here. That's crazy.
Public health measures. So not until the second or third quarter of 2021, though. Christmas is probably not going to be possible.
Yeah.
Fauci can have Jake's family over for a friendly dinner, but you can't have your family over for Christmas dinner. Tapper's now linked to.
It said Fauci pled the fifth over 111 times in Uncle Rucker's voice. That nigga is guilty. Him, Joe, and Hunter should be in jail cells, jail cell neighbors. That's not gonna happen. No, they too important. They family is upper echelon. I tried to tell y'all who really run this shit. They put celebrities in front of y'all to distract y'all. Who the best celebrity? Michael Jordan. Keep letting them Negroes talk about Michael, Kobe, and all these people that we control anyway, while we just do whatever we want to do. And if they find out about what we're doing, we just plead the fifth. Fauci, after they done did all that, and now that we know what we know that this man ruined an educational system, ruined the economy, that they give Trump props for, but this guy was shutting down the economy during the time that people was trying to see some real change. And he helped shut down the economy with this disease that was ran through a laboratory. You said run it back? Hold on.
Possible.
Yeah.
Fauci can have Jake's family over for a friendly dinner, but you can't have your family over for Christmas dinner. Tapper's now linked to two of the biggest cover-ups in U.S. history, Biden and COVID. This was the second Christian holiday Fauci canceled. In the spring, Trump demanded
that all of you that's so devoted to these media pundits, you better hope that you're not listening to somebody that's just politically affiliated with these people and that's just doing this from a go along, get along gang standpoint. What you think you know, you don't know. It's a weird world out here. That's why most people just don't want to know. Most people know that you really ain't free. It's just most people don't want to talk about it. They just want to get their coin, keep their head down. Because if you know something about it, you got to do something about it. And ain't nobody going to do nothing. That's why we got slaves in Libya right now. And when they throw us back in chains, like Joe Biden said, we're going to be screwed. Because ain't nobody really addressed nothing no more. Everybody turn the other way. Everybody take the check. Everybody just want to take care of their family until it's too late. Y'all don't see that they're taking away food stamps. They're taking away housing. So you can't say Trump a racist because he obviously hate white people, because there's more white people on food stamps and health benefits than it is anybody in America. So Trump hate white people. But it's going to be some black folks on there that been career welfare recipients. They've had 4, 5, 6 kids and doing that and living off of the system. And now those people that they got fat doing that with how are they going to now learn to live on their own if somebody was giving it to them? That's why the saying is you teach a person to fish. You can't give them that. And if you're going to give people something, because I was a recipient of welfare, but you got to give it a time limit. You can't let people just sit on the system, because you'll start having kids and live within that system. And now we got an unfortunate thing that's going on is that kids are taking care of the parents now. It's not the other way around. The parents are barely even managing them, most of them. But as far as the nuts and bolts of what it takes to have a house, electricity and all that, the kids bring all that. Based on them having a child, you get a stipend for housing, you get a reduced rate for electricity. So the kids are the new man. And it's sad because the guidance is gone. And if mama out trying to find a job, then what? The kids are raising themselves. You see these teen takeovers. You see the fucking, you see the worst behavior. All because you don't want to have a solid foundation. It's like building a house and saying, don't worry about how the foundation look. Stop worrying about getting it measured right. Just put it down. Don't square the corners. We don't care about that. As long as it look right. As long as we can get on Facebook and make it look right.
Ended that we open after 30 days, so we could have Easter. Dear Diary, POTUS invited me and Deb into his inner office at the Oval and started telling me that as a Catholic, how much of a shame it would be if we did not do a classical Easter and Good Friday and Palm Sunday. I convinced him to essentially put Easter on hold for this year. A month before Easter, Fauci told the country that the COVID fatality rate was extremely dangerous.
The mortality for this is about 2.5%. It's probably lower than that. It's probably closer to 1. But even if it's 1, it's 10 times more lethal than the seasonal flu.
But that's not what he wrote in his diary. He said the fatality rate was actually closer to 0. Didn't matter. In his diary, he was bragging about shutting down the country. I spoke with Bill de Blasio, mayor of New York City, and convinced him, based on what I was saying publicly and my conversation tonight, to close the NYC schools. He had already decided based on what I was saying on TV, and I went on to tell him he should close the bars and restaurants in New York City. Fauci said he spoke to Newsom, who did the same thing with California.
You should be able to sue Dr. Fauci. This is some bitch the reason why my bar closed. We should be able to sue you, Fauci. Like, this ain't cool, bro. Dr. Fauci, ouchie, we should be able to sue you. Just that bull stuff. You know how many businesses this dude closed? Do you know how many people that was in jail, out of jail, that couldn't see their family members? Like, damn, man, they got to do something about this. They can't let this go. Millions of people died alone. Not just dying, but they died alone. You know how Kevin Samuel said, never die alone? There was husbands that can't go see their wife and she passed. There was wives that couldn't go see their husbands. That's crazy. And all this dude care about is who talking about him in the news. You never trusted that jab? Me either. Shit, I'm glad I ain't had no job. I would have been a nigga saying, well, it's over with. Because ain't no way. Shit, I smoked this reefer, I drank that yak, and it doing something to the body too. But guess what? At least I feel good doing it. And this goddamn, that jab, you don't get nothing out of it. You just sit there. You don't know what you got. Hell no. Got fired with a smile on my face for not taking that BS. Hey, sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
But afterwards, he was like, who, me?
I wonder if you would recommend locking down schools if you had to do it all over again.
Well, you know, again, it's first of all, I didn't recommend locking anything down.
Schools were shuttered for years based off Fauci's recommendations. It isolated an entire generation of children, set them back socially, academically. It alienated them. Boys couldn't play sports. When none of Fauci's recommendations were working, he wrote that he was losing sleep over it. Quote, what is evolving is that states that are not opening up thus far are not seeing an increase in cases. In fact, some are seeing decreases. But did he pivot? No. He called anyone who disagreed with him a moron. And the media, they saw the trend too, but they still treated him like a hero for shutting down the country for a virus he knew wasn't that deadly. And that definitely didn't affect children. And then he forced everybody to get the shot. And here's how he sold it the first time. Watch.
If you're vaccinated, you don't have a risk. And that's the reason why we say it's as simple as black and white. You're vaccinated, you're safe. You're unvaccinated, you're at risk. Simple as that.
In his diary, he knew that.
Y'all know he capping. He knew he was lying. This dude said that if you vaccinated, you're safe. If you're not vaccinated, then you're not safe. It's simple as black and white. And he know that was cap. There was people still getting the virus, still people being unalive from the virus, and they're trying to get boosters. Once he found out to be lying, they like, oh, take another one. All right, come on, this dude here, boy. They better do something about this. I don't want to hear no sanction.
And then he forced everybody to get the shot. And here's how he sold it the first time. Watch.
If you're vaccinated, you don't have a risk. And that's the reason why we say it's as simple as black and white. You're vaccinated, you're safe. You're unvaccinated, you're at risk. Simple as that.
In his diary, he knew that wasn't true. I'm well aware that many people who are vaccinated are still getting infected, and that worried me a lot. But Fauci was wrong yet again, but went on TV every day and told everybody to just shut up and get vaxxed. If you question this, you were silenced. The government even got Silicon Valley to take down jokes about Fauci, like he was the Prophet Muhammad. Americans had real doubts about how this virus came out of China. Fauci said it was from some weird animal in a wet market.
When I look at the scientific evidence, I don't see any evidence that's concrete at all that it's a lab leak, even though a lot of people talk about it. I still think it's a possibility, but I haven't seen any evidence.
But in his little diary at the time, Fauci wrote that a dozen of his top scientists believed it came from that sloppy Wuhan lab. This was the same lab that Fauci funded. This was the lab doing the risky gain-of-function research on bats that Fauci was obsessed with. This is the liar that CNN was fangirling about while Americans' lives were getting crushed.
Oh, you can't even do nothing about it. I forgot. He got a pardon. He ain't going to jail. He got a pardon. Joe Biden gave this dude a pardon. KB, how is Fauci not in prison right now? If you unalive one person, you're a lifer. This guy has unalived millions. Well, the reason he's not going to jail, Paul, is because Joe Biden pardoned him. So it don't matter what he did now. He has a pardon for it, a presidential pardon. I wonder why he needed that. Auto pen.
Even doctors who used to have Fauci's back now want nothing to do with him.
Is having a reputation totally in the toilet at 85 years, does that hold him to account for what he was responsible for?
The Tony Fauci I saw in those emails is not the Tony Fauci I knew over the years.
Fauci's never uttered a single regret. Even Trump says he makes mistakes. One of those mistakes, he says, was listening to Fauci. But Anthony gave himself an A+. Dear Diary, most people expressing outrage that the Trump administration would be so bumbling and incompetent to try to discredit the most credible scientist in the world. I must say, I did extraordinarily well. The death rate in the U.S. was way higher than most of the developed world. But Fauci was lobbying other scientists to nominate him for science awards, awards that gave him $1 million. And did Fauci receive royalties from the vaccine? Did he have a financial interest in lockdowns and vax mandates? We don't know. But his diary does suggest, though, that he didn't want the vaccine approved before the election because it would help Trump. And he may have played a role in delaying it. Is this the diary of a humble doctor following the science and working tirelessly to help the country get through a pandemic? Not really. Looks like the diary of an insecure villain who got his 15 minutes of fame and then tried to milk it. Should a doctor be proud when 1 million Americans die on his watch? Small businesses, bankruptcies, stock market plummeting, social isolation. You really want to be famous for that. Now, Fauci knew he blew it, and he's desperately seeking fame and glory to treat a guilty conscience. On Wednesday, we're going to hear some answers when he testifies in front of Senator Rand Paul's Senate committee, first thing in the morning. Watch it here on Fox. Fauci was pardoned by Joe Biden, and now it looks like we know why. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube.
Now I got to show y'all. I showed this on Patreon. I got to show y'all how, the most educated man in the world handles some questioning. The best doctor in the world, this is how he handles simple little questions.
You like taking the fifth, huh, Doc? Let's try something. What day of the week is it today?
Appreciate you, Paul.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Y'all know he's pleading the fifth on what day of the week is it? Yeah, he 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth. That's crazy. He ain't asked him nothing incriminating. He asked him what day of the week is it. Watch this. Watch this next question. This is a real smart, educated man, boy. But he got a pardon, so he don't got to tell you nothing.
What color tie you're wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color's the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my.
Trump is not a king. Trump is not a king. Trump got 34 felonies. At least Trump got it on his record. These people are above the law. He ain't going to tell you about the carpet. He ain't going to tell you about his tie. He ain't going to tell you what the day of the week it is. And he don't give a damn how many emails you found because he got a pardon. No, he ain't finna speak freely. Why would I give you any information, Taryn? I ain't giving you nothing. I would do the same thing if I had a pardon. I don't care what you found. Under advice of my attorney, you heard what he said. Under advice of my attorney, I plead the fifth. He don't need to give you no sound bite, no nothing else to go with the story. It ain't a damn thing you could do about it. That's true power. That's the kings that they've been telling y'all about. Over 1 million something people unalive. People had to quarantine, stay away from their family. People lost their business, and there ain't anything you could do about it. Woo! That's power.
The Constitution.
What color's the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Let's just get one thing straight. You don't have any rights under the Fifth Amendment because you've been pardoned, as you very well know. As the Supreme Court has been clear for a century and more, Brown versus Walker, 1896, when he has been pardoned, he may not stand upon his privilege. You know that. Your lawyers sitting behind you now shifting nervously in their chairs. They know it. This isn't about the Constitution. This isn't about the law. This is about contempt. Contempt for this body and contempt for the American people. But I think I know why you're doing it. It's because you don't want to answer questions. It's because you did all kinds of terrible things. It's because during the pandemic, you got rich, didn't you? You got rich while people were dying, hundreds of thousands of Americans, over 1 million in the end, and you were getting rich. And not only were you doing that, you were using federal employees with taxpayer money to apply for and solicit cash prizes for you personally, cash prizes totaling over $1 million. You did all of that during the pandemic, didn't you? That's a question.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
You remember Greg Folkers? Who was that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Your chief of staff is the answer. Do you remember Patricia Conrad? Who was that?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
She was your personal assistant. And what were these individuals doing in the depth of the pandemic in November of 2020 when millions of Americans were suffering from COVID? What were they doing? I tell you what they're doing. Folkers was on your behalf soliciting and gathering information for a cash award. Let's look at it. We've got his email right here, right over my shoulder. Volker says, I'm working on this nomination for the Dan David Award for Fauci. We need to beef up the COVID part. Do you have language in the can that you could share that delineates how we responded in new ways to COVID? He sends this to multiple federal employees. What was the Dan David Award? Do you remember, Doc?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
It was a $900,000 cash award. $900,000 cash award. And he got it because he used federal employees to get it. And this wasn't the only award, was it, Dr. Fauci? In fact, you applied for and received at least 8 other federal cash prizes on federal time using federal employees and federal resources. Here they are over my shoulder. Besides the Dan David Award, you've got the Partnership for Public Service, you've got the Adelson Prize, you've got the Smithsonian Award, you've got the National Academy of Medicine's Award, you've got the CDC Foundation. In fact, you turned your staff into a full-time application machine. You actually wrote to people and said, do you think maybe I'd qualify? And you got cash for all of this. And it wasn't just 1 or 2 employees, was it? In fact, you used 8 separate.
Damn, boy, they respect Cub. They respect Cub. How Adrian Brown say they respect Cub. They let Cub do whatever he wanted to do, boy. Lord have mercy. Jesus Christ. They respect Cub.
Federal employees on federal time using federal resources to solicit cash awards. Isn't that true?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Here they are right over my shoulder. Here's all of them. The people that you use, federal employees, so that you could go and get cash money. And the most hilarious part is that you weren't content to even dragoon them into applying for all of these cash awards. You then had them go out to the ethics agencies and ethics watchdogs and demand that you be able to get the money. That's right. We've got it in your emails. Your staff and employees on federal time, using federal resources, being paid with federal dollars, are soliciting cash for you. And then they're turning around and saying to the agency, we don't want just an answer. We want to get to yes, because Fauci wants the money. He wants it. We want to get to yes, and yes takes time. This is your chief of staff again, using federal email to pressure the agency's own ethics people so that you could get money, so that you could get rich. And it violated the law, didn't it, Dr. Fauci? Didn't it? It violated the law, didn't it? It is a question. You can answer. Go ahead.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Federal law, as you very well know, prohibits the solicitation of cash awards or other personal benefits for federal employees. And it certainly prohibits using your own employees to do this. 5 CFR section 2635-205B. It says it right there in black and white. You cannot use federal resources, federal dollars, federal employees, federal offices, federal email, federal time to solicit cash awards. And you did all of it. And the worst part is thousands of people were dying while you were doing it. You were supposed to be the nation's doctor and you're playing one on TV, but this is what you were doing with your time. Isn't that true?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see why. I can certainly see why. You know, what I can't quite figure out is that why you were so obsessed with it, because you're already rich. I mean, and your scheme worked here. I mean, your net worth now is north of $12 million. You
say what? He got $12 million. See, listen, this is what I'm saying. Y'all can't keep falling for this Democrat Republican bullshit. You got and quit being so damn trained like lab rats. Like, I ain't take no juggernaut. I ain't take no shot. No, sir. I'm glad I ain't had no job. I'm glad I had some good friends around too. I got some good people around. They was forced to take it. I feel bad for them. Salute to you, OG Aunt. I know some people lost really good jobs, really good positions that didn't deserve it because they didn't listen to this narcissistic, wannabe famous prick It's not really bad right there, YouTube. That's not prolonged. Just one word. I can't say nothing. That's crazy, man. So many people, this one dude affected, and all it did is make him money. They praised this man in the media. They held this man up, made people listen to this clown, demonized other real doctors and real people that challenged the science. This ain't supposed to be a who we like situation when it's about science. You're supposed to look at both set of ideas. You're not supposed to smother one.
You got over $1 million in cash awards during COVID, during a 12-month, 24-month span during COVID. $1 million you knocked down in cash money using federal resources. Now you're worth more than $12 million. You've got a pension that in its first year paid out north of $400,000 a year. 1 million people dead, you're getting rich. 1 million people dead, you're using federal employees to get cash awards for you. 1 million people dead, and you're here taking the fifth because you don't want to admit that what really happened in all that time was a multi-month, multi-year course of self-dealing. Isn't that true, Dr. Fauci?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
Yeah, well, silence is admission. And here's the real thing. At the end of the day, it wasn't just about the money, really, was it? It was really about a power trip. I mean, through all of this, you want to be the most famous scientist in the world. You were so focused.
Okay, said McVeigh said my aunt and uncle died during COVID, and as long death certificate said COVID, they reimbursed for everything for the funeral. What? As long as the death certificate said COVID? Wow. They reimbursed for everything for the funeral. So people was writing COVID on the death certificate so they can get reimbursed for the funerals, is what you're saying? Holy word. That's crazy. Sorry to hear that.
On getting every award and every drop of cash that you could, all because you wanted to be on TV, you wanted to be the sun god of science, you wanted to be the guy who was in charge of it all, you wanted to lambast Trump, you wanted to make sure that nobody else stole your spotlight, you wanted to be the guy. You had time to sit for InStyle magazine. Here's what you were doing with your time. You could sit for InStyle magazine, but you can't answer questions for the American people. You could sit for InStyle magazine, but you're here taking the fifth. You could sit for InStyle magazine and get $1 million in cash awards. But now the cat's got your tongue. I bet he does. I tell you what, here's my conclusion from all of this. This was really all about you the whole time. Somewhere along the way, you lost your way. You may have been a good public servant at one time. I don't know. But I can tell you from reading your emails now, from looking at what you did, how you used your employees, somewhere along the line, it became all about you. You became a narcissist and a megalomaniac and a liar. And you've lied to the American people, and you've lied to this body. And you've disgraced your profession by doing it. You called yourself the most famous scientist in the world. You've done more to harm science than anybody in my lifetime. And I hope you'll go home and write that in your diary. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Just from the water.
Senator Fetterman.
Yeah.
Man, I don't want to keep hearing these strong words at somebody. They can't do nothing to him, so let the man go down and go home. The man ain't answered not one damn question. We didn't learn Nathaniel. They win again. The evil won. This man was able to unalive or help unalive millions of people, in my opinion, and he's not gonna have a consequence. Only thing you can do is talk to him. It's weird. People don't care about all that. Close this. Let me put this up. Somebody sent me this.
in the kitchen. This is where I fill up water for storage. Those are the things we have to fill up to flush the toilets.
So you can see the sediment from the data center. Wow, and that's just from the water coming out of your faucet.
Yeah. And this is what's in all the pipes.
Just the well itself is probably 20,000, and that's not counting any of the
All
faucets.
the replacement
Yeah.
of the fixtures and
That's
faucets
just
and
the way.
toilets and the lines that come underneath the house. It's overwhelming because you really feel like you are up against this huge wall that you can't penetrate. There's nothing that you can do, and they don't care.
I'm here in Mansfield, Georgia, driving by Meta's new 2 million square foot data center facility. Facilities like this are being used to power things like ChatGPT and other AI tools that are becoming integrated into our daily life.
Data centers, going to be a very hot item.
This entire supercomputer is built to power Grok. We see data centers as the most exciting asset class.
Meta is building a 2 gigawatt plus data center that is so large it would cover a significant part of Manhattan.
But data centers come with big costs, from light and noise pollution to the environmental impacts, to the potential rising costs of energy bills. These facilities put extraordinary demand on the power grid and require entirely new infrastructure.
Oh my God. They should be responsible for that, not us.
Search the internet for profits that Meta has made, Amazon, Microsoft. They can afford to pay for their own generation.
We came to Georgia to ask two questions. What's the true cost of the AI revolution, and who should be paying for it? Your house is here, and the data center is right there.
It's less than 400 yards.
Beverly and Jeff Morris bought their home an hour's drive from downtown Atlanta in 2016, but their roots in the community run much deeper.
Being in the country has always just been my peace and my therapy. When we found this place, we decided that this was it. It was perfect.
I was actually raised probably 5 miles from here. It felt like coming home.
The data center that's now the Morris' next door neighbor happens to be owned by Meta, the company you know for Facebook and Instagram, but has also been breaking into artificial intelligence. They started construction on this data center campus in 2018.
Definitely changed everything. They destroyed the environment, taking down all the trees across the road.
Beautiful pines, beautiful forest.
The light pollution is...
We don't have to have a night light in the house. You can walk around the house at night. See everything. It's that bright.
This is a video of the dust from Facebook where the construction was. What it looks like right now out my front door. The wind blowing in all of this stuff from across the construction, across the road.
This is all from Meta.
Yeah, I was standing on my front porch. I think eventually that affected our well water. We're on a well here, and we started having issues with our well in 2018. Have to replace the hot water heater. I've replaced 2 washing machines and a dishwasher because of the sediment that's coming in.
A lot of what the Morrises are facing is from the polluting effects of this massive construction, but that's only one part of the story. There are serious costs to communities once data centers are operational too. To explain that, we have to back up for a second. I wouldn't blame you if you were asking yourself, what the heck is a data center anyway? Their origins date back to early, clunky supercomputers or mainframes in the 1950s and 60s. And then in the 90s, with the birth of the internet, the modern data center was born as a way for internet providers to connect businesses and the world to the web. In the 2010s, data centers became larger as they became critical to new cloud storage.
To the cloud. With the cloud, we share a sync folder that allows us to all work on the same documents.
Everything from your pet photos to entire workplaces to files for video streaming, like this video you're watching right now. We're in the cloud. Today, we are in the midst of a tectonic shift in processing needs, as large as the birth of the internet. Artificial intelligence.
A transformational moment for data center demand.
But the thing is, AI processing demands are much larger. One report showed that a Google search using a ChatGPT-like AI feature used 30 times as much power as a normal Google search. In the next 3 years, data center use of electricity is expected to double or even triple. And the state of Georgia has the fastest data center growth in the entire country.
The two biggest reasons data centers come to Georgia are that electricity rates for industrials, which is the class that they're in, are 42% below the national average. And the second biggest one are data center tax breaks. They received over $180 million in tax breaks last year.
The week we were in Georgia, a showdown was happening at the state capitol over two bills tied to data centers.
Senator Hofstadter had proposed two different bills, and one of them was SB 34, which was the data centers bill, to move the burden of the operational costs of data centers from ratepayers to the data center themselves.
And what is SB 94?
That is the Consumer Utility Council, a legal advocate for ratepayers and small businesses.
Bills like these are the result of mounting residential anger and the work of dedicated advocates across the state, like Diana Dietz, who lives 50 miles away from the Capitol in Fayette County.
This is a huge industrial project plopped in a residential area. This was the original plan, 122 acres. And then the Development Authority got involved.
In 2022, officials in Fayette County voted to annex and rezone an additional 412 acres for a data center campus. Fayetteville's City Council voted 5-0 in favor of the development, despite passionate opposition from some local residents. The site was then purchased by QTS, which is owned by Blackstone, for $153.8 million.
These speculators, investors, are secretly buying up land right next to homeowners. And it was all done so that when we all went to the 4 public hearings between the county and the city, it was a done deal. This is the one that's currently under construction, and this is where Gene and Joe are.
Gene and Joe Marshall live on the edge of Fayetteville in Fayette County on an 8-acre property.
This driveway is almost the line for Fayette County versus Fayetteville, where QTS's property is located. We have absolutely no say in anything that happens over here.
Despite their vocal opposition to the project, living next to construction on all sides of their home has become their daily reality for the last 2 years.
They do nightly pours over here, and in the back part at the other building, the lights are shining and there is noise. 2-3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. So they don't stop. Oh yeah, sure.
We went to visit Nikki Vanderslice, who heads up the Fayette County Economic Development Authority, a non-governmental agency that played a central role in the marketing of the land for data center development.
For residents who live alongside these data centers, life has become very difficult. What do you say to them?
Well, I say to them that there's a couple of things. One, we were very transparent. The Development Authority was very open about attracting a data center, and there wasn't any resistance until it came to their property specifically.
Vanderslice says data centers are good for the community, even if some don't see the benefits yet.
In 2021, that property paid $36,000 in property taxes total. In 2024, on raw land, it paid $1.13 million in property taxes. That contributed $760,000 to our local Board of Education. I'm apologetic that they're being impacted, but I also see the benefits of what the companies are doing and how they're improving our economy. And so there's the balance that when you have, 200 out of 120,000 people, that you have to balance what's the highest and best use for the whole of the community.
It's just the height of selfishness to imagine that one county's benefit to the huge detriment of 158 other counties in Georgia that now have to pay higher electric bills is okay. It's not okay. It drives inequity. It's very immoral too.
That's Patty Durand, and as you can tell, she does not agree with Nikki Vanderslice. Patty is a longtime consumer advocate and expert on energy policy who's been raising the alarm about rising costs of electricity related to data centers. Are data centers going to drive up energy costs for residents across the state?
On May 1st, Georgia Power residential ratepayers experienced a 24% rate increase. Just since 2023, Georgia Power has raised rates 6 times.
And related to those rate hikes, remember those 2 bills we mentioned earlier? We were with Patty as she was watching a live feed of the Senate floor.
Today is crossover day, which means any bill that does not get through one side of the House or the Senate to the other side is dead for the year. And right now, Senate Bill 34 is not on that list.
By later that evening, both bills had failed to get a vote. As disappointed and angry as Patty was, she wasn't too surprised.
Georgia legislators are getting soaked with money from Georgia Power.
Is that a conflict of interest?
Absolutely. It is clearly corrupting. This is the highest paid utility CEOs in the country. Why is the poorest region in the country paying the most to our CEOs?
$23 million.
It's ridiculous how much money they make.
Our time in Georgia is crucial to understanding what's happening all across the country because the growth of data centers is not slowing down anytime soon. And tech billionaires have already been complaining about the amount of red tape involved in powering this growth.
Getting energy permitted is like a very heavily regulated government function. And if you're talking about building large new power plants or large build outs, that is just a heavily regulated thing.
The regulatory body in question is the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, also known as FERC, an independent and historically nonpartisan agency that regulates interstate transmission of electricity, natural gas, and oil. But just last month, President Trump signed an executive order placing FERC under White House control. And he's been boasting about his ability to fast-track new projects.
We're going to get very rapid approvals in the United States. Like with the AI plans, under emergency declaration, I can get the approvals done myself without having to go through years of waiting.
With this alliance between the federal government, Silicon Valley, and utility monopolies, who's...
Oh, no, Trump. Hell no, you better not do that. What the hell? What's going on in the dirt battleground? Damn, man. The AI gonna take over for real. We're gonna have robots running us for real. Damn.
He's looking out for regular Americans like the Morrises.
During the peak season, our electric bill was maybe $250. Yeah. And now it's probably $400.
Your electricity bill has doubled. Wow.
It's been a struggle.
Every month it's a struggle. Jeff would like to retire, but he keeps working because we have to pay our bills.
Do you think that people should have to pay more because of data centers?
No, absolutely not. They should pay for that difference. It's hard enough for a regular person to pay their electric bill as it is. I don't think that's right at all.
We reached out to the big tech companies, including Meta and QTS, asking for an interview and a tour of their facilities, but both declined to participate in the story.
Duran says despite the bill's failure, the fight will go on. A number of other states have similar bills up for debate right now.
The reason I think other states should pass it, whether we do or not, is that data centers could possibly come to their state next. There needs to be legislation to protect them because by all accounts, data center growth is going to be very fast.
This is our cold water pressure in the kitchen.
So basically, what they're saying is it's not if, but when. And yeah, Trump selling to the highest bidder on every front. Dang, boy. I don't agree with Trump on this one. He need to rethink legislating these data centers to at least the high cost goes to the data center. And we got to figure out why is people water going out. But somebody said a comment in the chat and said they're trying to turn us into the robots. And that's crazy because I saw this thing right here. Speaking of turning us into robots.
In just a matter of minutes. So the criminals is going to have a choice to spend tens of years behind bars, or they can make the choice to get the artificial memory implanted into their brain. So this process is called Cognify. And the intent of it is to treat the criminal like a patient. They're going to try to change the person's brain chemistry. After this process, when they re-enter society, they will be new and reformed, and they won't even be capable of committing any other crime. The chip can make the patient feel empathetic. Depending on the severity of the crime, the chip can also make you feel the emotional and physical pain of the victim and the family members. You can feel what they felt. So the process only takes about 7 minutes. But to the patient, it seemed like it had been years. Last year, the U.S. government spent $8.7 billion taxpayers' dollars on the prison. They say with this new prison, they can save money for healthcare, education. Also, they feel that it will be so many reformed people that doesn't commit crimes. Y'all leave in the comments and tell me what y'all think about this. Do y'all think this is actually going to work? Or do y'all think that they're creating something that they don't even know that they're creating? Y'all leave in the comments and tell me what y'all think.
So basically, you could turn a 10-year sentence into a few minute sentence, but the catch is you're going to experience all the emotional and physical pain and all the trauma within those minutes, and it's going to feel like years. Do you actually know what that can do to your brain and your body for you to experience years of physical, mental, and emotional trauma within minutes? There's a good chance you could have go serve that 10 years and come home healthy and change your life and become a new man. And now with this thing, you mess around and serve that 10 years and 8 minutes and die next month because you done put your physical mind and body through all these things within the matter of minutes. And they doing this so they can save money.
So they coming up with a new prison that allows.
All right, that's weird as hell. That's my time. They talking about they trying to make human robots. Yeah, that's what we're gonna have if they do this. It's definitely gonna be human robot. But do you know how many of these YNs that ain't never been to jail? That's what they gonna do. They gonna go in, catch a body, get life. If that Sean Gatlin boy had a chance to get out for this, I know he'd take it. He'd take it, come out with a Bible. So yeah, he said, "Don't do the crime." Maybe the robots will be less evil. Shh. They're gonna be like they on Ritalin all their life. But listen, man, that's my time, man. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate everybody who super chatted. Hit that like button on the way out. I'm up out of this thing. I'm gone.